You have an idea, even if it's a slight one, about the functions which are being performed by the operating systems. Let us also get to know the types of operating systems. There are various kinds of operating systems which perform various tasks. Let's first talk about batch operating system. This OS does not have a direct communication with the computer. The user uses punched cards and submits them to the computer operator. All such programs which have been received in the form of punched cards are then combined together in batches by the computer operator. It is similar to the situation wherein a class teacher is sitting and it takes the paper of each student separately and then submits them to the teacher who is responsible for checking them. Similarly, the operator does so. Once the operator submits the batches to the computer, the process takes time. And since the time for which the operator is collecting the batches, CPU remains idle. So no doubt, this operating system processes the complete tasks in units which might be large, but CPU is not utilized constantly. Time-sharing operating systems, on the other hand, use a technique which enables many people located at various terminals to use a particular system at the same time. Processor time is shared amongst different users. Also, this avoids duplication of software. CPU idle time is reduced. Since many people use one resource, there can be issues of reliability and security occurring. Also, data communication is a little bit difficult because the CPU has to decide on a very fast basis that which programs need priority and which programs need to be put back in the queue. Just like when we see on a railway ticket counter, there is one person who is booking and there are many requests which come together. So there might be fights coming in and people might try to just jump over one another in order to get their ticket booked first. So similarly, processes do that too. Network processing systems allow shared file and printer access. This can be typically done through a local area network, which we will study about in detail in the next module. The security is server managed, which means whatever requests are going, they go through a server. Consider that if a student has to talk through the principal, there might not be an approach which he can use directly every time. So what does he do? He talks to the teacher, and the teacher forwards his request to the principal. The principal responds back to the teacher, and the teacher further gives the message back to the student. So similarly, a process sends a request, and that request goes to the server and reaches the computer. The computer then processes it and sends it back to the server, and server talks to the user. By talking, I do not mean they communicate directly. It means that the server responds back. A server is also a computer. Upgrades to new technologies and hardware can be easily integrated in the network operating system. Some examples include Linux, Microsoft Windows Server, etc. The last section deals with real-time operating systems. In this, the time which is required to process and respond to inputs is extremely small. This means that time taken, which is termed as the response time, is very, very less. The point is that CPU basically works so fast along with the memory and the cache so effectively that the user feels that no time has been taken to process the request. Moreover, this system must have well-defined fixed time constraints, otherwise the system will fail. This means time is diamond here. Time is very important. Whatever request comes over, it has to be fulfilled within seconds in order to make it effective. Not even seconds. Seconds is a long time. You can say 100th part of a second is the time taken to process the request. Implementations of these kind of operating systems include multimedia, virtual reality, advanced scientific projects like undersea exploration, and planetary rovers. Well, for multimedia, we can talk about your movies, like the ones we talk about, Kung Fu Panda or any other animation movies. Scientific projects which are works of NASA, etc., use real-time systems. Whatever data the astronauts are sending from the space, that data is to be implemented real-time. These are big things to be explored about. We will talk about them as we move ahead